David Kill here. So we're going to be starting episode 1 of the Trap House series. The Trap House is going to be my series that takes an in-depth look at the traps of Ninja Voltage. So we're going to be talking about the traps as far as what they do, their ranges, their durations, some common strategies to kind of navigate around those traps or how to destroy them before they kind of get detrimental. That being said, this series is probably going to be geared more towards newer players, but I'm hoping that there's some useful information for players of all skill levels. That being said, episode 1 is going to be focusing on the Genjutsu trap. So if you're unfamiliar with this trap, you can actually find it in the Fortress Metal Shop. You're going to go to this building with the sale, and then you can go to the Fortress Metal Shop here, and then you'll find the Genjutsu trap. It's on sale for 4,000 Fortress Metals. It is definitely in your best interest to pick this trap up. It is one of the most useful defensive tools for your base. That being said, we're going to go into our fortress. So you're going to find the Genjutsu trap in the installations tab. It's going to be between Venomous Snake Statue 2 and the Time Bomb. You can see that right here. So looking at the Genjutsu trap, the first thing you'll notice is it is an 8 capacity trap. When we're talking about traps, it's important to note that each room can only hold 20 capacity for traps. Our traps are assigned different values. Once they add up to 20, then that room is full of traps. So it's very important that most players learn how to count traps. It's a very useful skill because based off of the values you see, you can then kind of determine or guess what traps are left or what traps players could be using based on the setup of that floor. So next is the HP. So this trap has 4,000 HP. It starts at 4,000 HP. It's worth noting that guilds with higher number of battle badges do have increased defense and HP for their installations, so you're going to need to hit it for at least 4,000. In some cases it might be greater than 4,000. Next, the area is a simple 2x2 area, so it can fit in most common spaces. And then lastly, what makes the Genjutsu trap so useful is it inflicts confusion and seal simultaneously to the entire floor area, and it's going to do that at regular intervals. So we're going to go in the base and take a look at that. I'll be using NxB for this. So firstly, the first thing we're looking at is the Genjutsu trap in its inactive state. So at this point, there is no effect from running into the room. You'll see I can kind of run in and out of the room without it activating. There's no effects. However, once you've been in the room for a set amount of time, the trap then will activate. You can tell the trap is active because the red eyes start to glow. An aura surrounds it, and it shoots out this little wave that kind of lets you know where it's located. It's pretty useful if you're zoomed in and you can't determine the location. It's not visible on your screen. You can kind of just see where the wave kind of comes out from, and you follow that wave to the Genjutsu trap. You'll see I'm zoomed in, so there's no wave, and I'm pretty far away. But if I come in right here, I can't see the Genjutsu trap, but I can see the wave, so I know the Genjutsu trap is over here. Next, we're going to talk about the intervals for the Genjutsu trap. So we're going to wait till it deactivates and activates again. So you see it activates at 184. There's a 3.5 second interval for the Genjutsu trap. So it's going to be active and then inactive for 3.5 seconds. This is very important when we're talking about how to approach defenders that have Genjutsu traps in the room, or even if you're entering the first room and you need time to trap clear. So we're going to count that out really quick. It's active at 164, so it should be deactive at 161 and change. It's going to be active at 157, so it's going to be deactive at 154 and change. And it's pretty much just like that. It's really, really predictable. And it's also worth noting, even if once you've run outside of the room, that timer now resets, so it's not active. Someone does have to actively be in the room for the Genjutsu trap to be activated. So we're going to do now some first room strategies or tips. If you find the Genjutsu trap in the first room, typically you're going to have the Genjutsu trap further back in the room. It might even be hidden behind some trees or a branch. And we're going to set up some tornado traps. So again, when we're talking about trap capacity, you'll see here these traps have 3 capacity. So if you see a Genjutsu trap in the first room with nothing else in the room, it's a safe bet that there are tornado traps like this. and those are designed to send your defenders into your subs into defender rooms where they could easily be taken out, since they'll be confused and they'll be sealed. Again, looking at the capacity, you'll notice this is an 8 capacity trap. Each of these individual traps are worth 3 points. So 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 8 is 20. So that's our full thing. At max, they can have 4 tornado traps that will send your players out. If you see something like a pot in the room, or even like a scroll, a fence, even if it's 1 point of traps, then that means they can only have 3 of these tornado traps. So it's definitely important that you're able to count traps. Alright, so that being said, we're going to go over the strategy for dealing with the Genjutsu trap in the first room using a character with a range 3 attack. If you're unfamiliar with what a range 3 attack is, it's a character who has an attack that can cover up to 75% of the map, and it usually goes through walls. In my opinion, range 3 characters are the easiest characters to deal with Genjutsu traps. Other thing we have to talk about is the entrance to the room. Despite how it might look, the entrance to the room is not up here. The entrance to the room is actually somewhere around here. You can tell because I'm getting sealed and confused as if I was in the room, but my subs aren't. So I'm in the room, they're not in the room. So now we're going to run back. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to clear the first set of tiles. So we're just going to quickly trap clear those. Clear one, run back. Again, because we are on a time limit, we only have 3.5 seconds. It's really important that we're able to get in the room and out of the room quickly. So you'll see we did that first one. We got the second one and we're back. I've successfully cleared the first line of traps. And what this is going to do is now I know there are only 2 tornado traps left at max. So once I clear the next 2, I'm actually free to run around the map as I choose. But because I have a range 3 character with a range 3 attack, I'm simply going to run into the first tile and then try to attack it. If I miss, I'm just going to run out because again, this is timed. And that should be it. So now you'll notice now it's safe. I can pretty much successfully clear trap anything I need to clear because now I've cleared the Genjutsu trap. So that's the strategy for dealing with it for a range 3 character. Now we're going to talk about a trap clear. For the trap clear example, we will use Hokage Naruto. Again, your strategy is going to be pretty much dependent on being able to enter the room before your subs do, or without your subs entering the room, and then trap clearing. So you'll see, I'm sealed and I'm confused. So I'm gonna do my first trap clear right here. And how you trap clear is going to be dependent on your trap clear main. Different trap clearers have different ranges and set off traps in different ways. So we're going to actually do it in the way, we're going to set this base up in a way a room might initially be set up. So we're going to put 2 over here, maybe right there. We're going to put 1 in this floor right here, and then 1 right here. So again, I'm spreading them out because this is kind of more typical of how that would be. And I want to showcase the worst case scenario if you're using this. So you'll see again, I'm just going to enter the room without my subs entering the room. So I'm got to be up a little bit more. And after this, I'm going to do my first trap clear right here. My goal is not to set off as many traps running in the room as possible. My team is going to be split using Hokage Naruto because of just how his trap clear works. But you'll notice now I can pretty much pick and choose which room I want to run into and who I want to save based off of that. Again, like depending on who you pick, your team is going to get split. The best thing you can do is kind of like mitigate all the traps so you can run in and you can kind of pick and choose how you want to handle that. Next, we're going to be talking about how to deal with it with a character who has no trap clear or no range 3 attack. So we're going to do the same thing we did for our range 3 character. We're going to clear the first tile because again, we want to eliminate any possible traps before we actually make our mad dash. So that's 2. So right here, again, I'm clearing this side not because I'm running over here, but because I want to know if there's a trap here because I know that makes it now 1 less trap to deal with. So again, I'm just going to run up to this corner here, do that, kind of run quickly out. You'll see now I know there's 3 traps left. So at this point, now I'm going to make a mad dash because I can't trap clear anything else. I ran into a trap, which is unfortunate, but that's kind of like par for the course. Another strategy you can do, we're going to do one more. Again, you'll just clear the first tile. I'm not going to showcase that again because I don't want to waste too much time. So I'll just get that first tornado trap that I know is over here. Run out. And then you run into the kind of like where you approximate where the next one would be. And you just gotta wait. And then you let your team set them off. And then you follow your team to the one that you actually want to save once you destroy the Genjutsu trap. It's important to note if you're using a character who doesn't have a trap clear or range 3 attack, your team is going to get split. There's pretty much no way around it. Your team is going to get split. The best thing you can do is kind of try to mitigate that. So now we're going to talk about the Genjutsu trap in the defender room. Typically, you'll find the Genjutsu trap way further back than what the where the defender is. And typically what's going to happen is they're going to set up traps in one of 3 places. Is either going to be at the entrance of the room, like so. I'm just going to set up some dummy traps. It's going to be near the Genjutsu trap. Or it's going to be near the defender. We'll actually move him back a little bit. He doesn't need to be that close. And that's kind of like a common setup. It's not. I'm not saying they'll use these traps exactly, but typically like that's how it's going to work. Let me just make sure we're gonna move these out. So starting out again, we're just going to use NxB. So again, for a character with a range 3 attack, we're going to pretty much use the same strategy we did for the first room. We're going to enter the room. First, we're going to, if you already know the Genjutsu trap or where it is, then you can kind of just make your mad dash. Not even the mad dash. You can just try to hit with your range 3 attack. But I typically, like, again, try to clear the first tile, so I'm going to do that. If the defender spawns, then I'm immediately going to back up and use my ultimate. We're actually going to move him a little further back now. So you see now he won't spawn unless I run a little further in. And typically, that's another way where you can tell where the majority of the traps are. If they're further back, then it's usually in the first part of the room and near the defender. If they're closer, then it's definitely going to be in the first part of the room. So I'm going to wait for 3.5 seconds. Now I'm going to use my range 3 attack, and then I'm just going to hit Genjutsu. And nope, not yet. That should be it. So yeah, and then you're just going to hit it, and then once you've hit it, now you're going to spawn the defender. Again, I don't want to waste too much time doing this, so we're just going to exit out. Next, now we're going to talk about how to do it with the trap clear character. For this, we'll use Edo Itachi. Again, this is going to be dependent on who you're using, because different trap clears have different ranges. They set them off on different tiles, etc., etc. It's kind of up to you as a player to figure out the best way to use your trap clear. So again, I'm going to enter the room that I know. If I know there's a Genjutsu trap, I'm going to enter the room, and I'm going to try to leave my team out of it. I think Assure's out, yes. And I'm going to angle towards the side. I missed my angle. But typically you want to be as far back as possible, because you typically don't want to set off the defender when you're trying to do your trap clear, because then you'll kind of end up, just to make sure, maybe right here. So I'm in the room, so I'm just going to kind of go off to the side right here, so I know I'm going to test my first thing, so that's kind of too close. And I'm angling it off towards the side because I want to be able to get this first row without setting off the defender. And then once I know everything has been set off, I can kind of run into the room. If you're using a character who does not have a range 3 attack or trap clear, then typically what you're gonna actually, even for the ones that are in rooms without outcroppings, you can actually have a range 2 attack. A range 2 attack will suffice, because as long as there's nothing that will hit the attack, then you have a clear shot at it. But for this example, we're going to act as if I don't have a range 2 attack, so we're just going to run in, and this time I'm going to use my subs as my distraction. Essentially, I'm going to let them set off all the traps. I'm just going to enter the room. I'm make sure they enter the room, and I'm going to hang back. I'm going to see what they do, and then once those traps get set off, if the defender spawns, I'm immediately taking defensive options. I'm moving around. I'm trying to get away. And this time, I'm not going to approach the Genjutsu trap. The reason why I'm not going to approach the Genjutsu trap is because I know there's a trap over there. So typically, what I will do is I'll either try to seal the defender, hit the Genjutsu trap from at range. But those are pretty much like your options. If you just kind of like run towards the Genjutsu trap, chances are you're going to get either tornado trapped, you're going to get bear trapped, you might run into a ceiling scroll. There are a bunch of options there. So typically I try to attack them from at range. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. We can actually try a different approach, and again, we'll use a different room. We'll kind of just put it over here. Again, like, you know, if I'm using a range 3 character, and it's worth noting that Edo Itachi is a range 3. He does have a range 3 attack, but I was just kind of focusing on his trap clear. So you see, again, I'll just kind of do this, run up and hit it. Range 3 attacks like have a lot of versatility in terms of like what you can hit from them. We'll talk about some range 3 characters, but I won't showcase all of them. Hashirama is a range 3, has a range 3 attack. Neji, of course. Who else? Edo Itachi, DMS Kakashi, Jubito, Orochimaru, I think Sage Mode Naruto. So yeah, like you definitely have options. It's just kind of like in your best case to kind of figure out what they are based on the character you choose to pick. So this is going to be a series I'm going to do a lot more of. I do intend to do most, if not all, of the traps. In some cases, I'll try to double them up, but my goal is to kind of keep these videos under 20 minutes. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know. If there's anything else you'd like to see. I'm not going to go over specifics of maps yet, because I'll do that for another video where I can go like more in depth in that stuff. But for this time, we're just going to focus on the Genjutsu trap, how to approach the Genjutsu trap with defenders, and then how to deal with the first room Genjutsu trap. So that being said, I hope everyone enjoyed the series. If you do like it, please let me know. Leave a like, a comment, subscribe. I hope to do this, update this weekly. It won't be as intensive as my other series. Bingo book number, I think 13 now. We're on 13. That should be out soon, sometime this week. And I'm actually also working on some other stuff. I hope everyone's staying safe. Yeah, so Demonize Kyo out. Peace.